In this video I'm going to be reviewing the Bluetti AC500 with its battery, the B300S. Now, I've had it for a little over 6 months, I think around 7 months, and I've been using it inside the workshop there to help me run the welder or run the air compressor or the big table saw. So I thought now is probably a good time to give some feedback on what I've found with this Bluetti system. Some of you may be thinking, hey, I can build my own system for a lot cheaper, get more usable watts, get more battery. Hey, this video is not for you. This is for people that don't have that ability, that need to look at something that's off the shelf. Now, I wanted to get this clear before we start. Bluetti gave this to me to review. So I did an initial review about 7 months ago where I'd show all the ins and outs of this, and this is like the 6 month, 7 month long-term review. So if you need to, go back and see that original video there where I do more talks on what this thing can actually do and all its functions and features and things like that. But I don't really need this machine here. I just like off-grid power systems, and I thought it'd be fun to check it out. So I've got my own power system, and this will just, for me, just end up being just a backup system. And really that's what this system is intended for, is a home backup, where you connect it to your power board through a UPS auto changeover switch. So just say, for example, you lose power, your switch will detect that your grid power is down. This thing would automatically provide your home electrical power system, like running your fridge or running your lights or all the things that you think you might need. Today I'm going to hook in to this Bluetti here. I'm going to use it to assist my project here, because my solar system over there is a 4,000 watt and my air compressor uses about 3,500 watts plus startup load, so I just need a bit more power. And this is a 5,000 watt inverter system, so I'm going to use it to run my plasma cutter. Let's discuss the limitations here of off-grid power systems. You've got a limitation on how many watts that this will deliver to your needs. This is 5,000. You've got a limitation on how many watt hours your battery system can deliver to consume all at once. And then you've got a limitation on how much solar power is available and how much rechargeability that you have. So you've got to combine all of those and then get your needs understood to work out what system that you need. So as a start, I thought it'd be a good idea just to touch off on just some of the things that could be improved. Just real quickly, I'll talk more in depth about it throughout the video. Number one, this cable through here. It connects the battery to the brains in the inverter up top up here. It's big and it gets in the way. Number two is the solar charge controller cables. So you get your solar panels and connect them to these. These are probably just a little bit light gauge. They work, they're fine, and Bluetti have probably worked out that they're adequate, but to me they just look like a little bit light. The Bluetti, if the power runs real low and runs out of power, or if you overload it, the system will shut down to protect itself, but it won't restart itself automatically. You've got to actually come out and restart that, and that sometimes can be a little bit of a pain. Not a big deal, but a little bit painful. One other thing. Oh, yeah. The last thing is just, there's fans on the inside here for cooling and mesh screens. You have to dismantle the sides to get and clean those fans if you're in a dusty environment. So they're the negative things. Not really big showstoppers for me, but otherwise I'm very happy with this unit here, and it's got a lot of positives as well, and we can talk about those. So I'll just summarize all the things I like about this unit. Number one, I like its warranty. It has a 4-year warranty. 2, it's easy to use, and it is mobile, meaning you can pick it up, but it is heavy. 3, it's got 5,000 watts of very usable sine wave power. 4, you can increase your battery capacity quite easily, but there's a cost to that. They're expensive. 5, the functionality through the settings. You can change the settings like your recharge amperage. So you can change it. If you've got a small generator, for example, you can have a low charge rate where your little generator couldn't handle, say, putting out 15 amps of power. So lots of good functionality into this and lots of good thought that has gone into it. One of the main criticisms of this unit here is this big battery cable. Now, you don't have to look at too many online reviews, and just about everyone says the same thing, including myself. It could be better. It could be a little unit that perhaps it comes straight out here and comes down and straight in, and that would allow you to fit this in to a much tighter spot. I know why Bluetti created this cable here, because you might not stack these. The battery units might be in another location, and so they've done it so you can have the most flexibility with where you want to install this unit here. Here we have the solar input cables here. You've got the MC4 connectors and relatively light gauge wire. Now you can take 1500 watts of power on 2 different solar charge controllers inside this unit, so you can take 3000 watts of power all up. I would just assume that you could have some bigger wire that allows that energy to be more efficiently used inside the machine. So, but it still works. So Bluetti has done their calculations, and I might have questioned it, but I just thought that you could have a heavier gauge wire. Now I've got these fans here and the case here. I would like to clean them every now and then because of dust, and I don't want dust getting in the unit. So I'm just going to see if I can take the panel off and clean them. It just looks like you can't get to them, but maybe I can with these Allen head bolts, and we'll go and see if we can take those covers off and clean those fans. Just see if I can take these off. There's a hornet right in here. Come on out, buddy. Come on. Here we go. I think it's fairly important to be able to get those screens off easily, but these aren't too bad, all things considered. Whilst I had the unit opened, I just had a quick look inside, looking for dust, dirt and anything that might be out of place, but all looked pretty neat and tidy and well laid out inside. Everything looks nice in there. But I understand it possibly could be a little easier. The screen that slides up and out of the way, or slides off, or bolt the screen bolts just with something simple attachments on through here. Now, one other criticism that I have is that if you overload this unit here, it protects itself and shuts itself down and doesn't auto restart after a period of time. That's a bit of a bummer. Sometimes you're doing your thing, and if you've overloaded it, and sometimes you can by just trying to demand too much power, it'll just shut down and you've got to come back and reset it all yourself manually. Other units, probably like my Victron gear, it auto restarts, and that seems to work pretty good. Let's talk about the goods. This thing produces excellent power. 5000 watts for a portable power system like this is pretty darn good. You've got all the outlets that you could ever need. So I'm talking 240 volts. Australia uses 240 volts as our main system. You've got the 10 amp outlets there, 3 and 2 15 outlets. So I use these for the welder and for the big saw. That's your 32 amp plug outlet. So it's a funny looking plug there. It's not your standard one. So if you get on Bluetti online through there, you can get this this plug adapter specifically for this. Now I'll leave a link for it in the description. So that plugs in to that outlet there, and you get your electrician to wire in to this into the socket inside through here, like that, and then they can wire that directly to an electrical board. It's like a circuit board, and integrate that into your circuit, so you could use this system as a UPS, an uninterrupted power supply, or just run a standalone. And this allows you to run all your earthing and through all your safeties and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's a very good initiative. And the reason why you'd wire to this 30 amp outlet through here and through like a circuit board is so you can get the maximum capability out of this machine here to get your full 5,000 watts. So you can run this to a circuit where you can have 2,500 watts and 2,500 watts, and both of those circuits can run individually. Whereas a 15 amp circuit here, if you plugged all your power boards and things like that into a 15 amp, you're only going to get about, about 3,600 watts before this thing overloads. That one circuit in there, it will overload at about 3,600 watts. The 10 amp socket here, that will overload around about 2,400 watts with 240 volts, which is what we use here in Australia. But of course, if you want to, you can have different circuits, like an extension lead plugged into each one of these, and then still get the full capacity out of the machine. For me and my purposes here, this is not my main power supply. I've got a full off-grid system here, as I've shown in other videos. All that I've got with the Bluetti is this one battery. So it's the B300S, and it gives you 3,072 watt hours. So if I was running this for our home, which is definitely an option, I would probably need more battery capacity. Our house uses at least 6,000 watt hours a day. Now that we've got electric hot water, it's probably more like 8,000 watt hours a day. And my workshop uses a couple of thousand watt hours a day. So on those wet days, those rainy days, that this battery here just wouldn't be able to keep up with what we're running. We're just running ordinary household equipment, fridges and fans, and we use the air fryer and everything. But if one battery is not enough for your needs, you can expand your batteries up to 6. That comes at a cost, of course. The Bluetti website, you can see there the costs of the B300S, which is a self-heating battery. You can use that in the cold environments. You pay a bit more for that, in Australian dollars about $3,100. Or you can use the B300 expansion battery. It's a little bit cheaper at about $2,900. So in my case here, I would probably need another 3 batteries on top of the combo unit where you get the AC500 and the B300S, and I would need another 3 batteries to get about 12,000 watt hours of batteries, which is about an additional $9,000 Australian on top of the combo price. That's quite an investment. Whilst we're talking about batteries, we've got the battery here and the brains and the inverter and all the monitoring, all that gear's in here. How long will this system last us for? It really depends on what you've got plugged into it. There's so many variables there. If you think you're going to run an entire house with fridges and ovens and TVs and computers and fans and air conditioners, this system will disappoint you. You've got a limitation of just 5,000 watts of power that's available to you. So if you're running ovens, there's probably going to be 2,500 watts straight up there. All your computers and all your fans and fridges and pumps and air conditioners, they all use quite a lot of energy. So this is something, if it's going to be used as a UPS, that uninterrupted power supply, you're just paring back on everything that you may need to use at once. Because it's an emergency situation, you may only want to just run your fridge, some fans, some lights, and perhaps a computer, charge your phones. Pare it right back. Now if you're in an off-grid situation where you're probably being miserly anyway with your power usage, you've got an economical fridge, you're running some lights, you're probably running a computer, maybe some fans, basic stuff, this system here can actually quite well meet those needs. So you may want to think about doing some calculations. How much energy needs you have? How much does your fridge consume? How much does your fan consume? How many watts does your lights consume? And it's best to think in watt hours. So all those will have appliance data, and they'll tell you probably on the back of the appliance how many watt hours it will consume. It's important to note that this is an inverter, so it's converting DC power, 48 volts, to AC power, in our case 240 volts. So there's efficiency losses in doing that conversion. So you might have 3,072 watt hours available to you in that battery, but there's some losses that will occur in that conversion. And you need to look up the Bluetti efficiency standard for this inverter. Every inverter's got their conversion efficiency. If this is at 80%, we'll use that as a round figure, that 3,072 watt hours at 80% efficiency means you lose 614.4 watt hours out of 3072 watt hours. It brings it down to a usable 2457.6 watt hours. That's what you can use. So if you're using 100 watts continually, you can run this Bluetti AC500 with the B300S one for 24.57 hours. So if you're using 200 watts, you can run it for 12.28 hours. 300 watts usage, 8.2 hours. 400 watts usage, 6.14 hours. 500 watts usage, 4.9 hours of running. That gives you a bit of an indication. Do a little bit of homework there. You can work out how long this system as it stands, with not plugged into any solar or any external charging, how long it will run as it is. But of course this thing does have a solar charging capacity. So during the sunlight hours, the day hours, and I only use 5 hours for my calculations, you can recharge this and put up to 3000 watts of solar energy back into this at any one time. 1500 watts plus 1500 watts is 3000 watts through here. So whilst you're consuming power, you can recharge this unit as well, which is where the magic comes in. Let's talk about some recharging ability and how many solar panels you might consider using. So if you had 100 watt solar panel plugged into this times 5 hours, you're going to get 500 watts of power recharge back into this unit. If you had 500 watts of solar power times 5 hours, you're going to get 2500 watts of recharge back into this unit. And you can go on. Let's quickly talk and review the other numbers. 750 watts times 5 hours, 3750 watt hours of recharge. 1000 watts times 5, 5000 watts of rechargeability. Means you can use 5000 watts of power whilst the sun's out there. 3000 watts is the capacity of rechargeability through solar, times 5 hours, 15,000 watt hours of rechargeability. So whilst that sun's out there, you can consume the solar power that's being generated plus the battery power that's on hand, recharging this using power, and that's the time to use it. When you've got the solar power systems, you get the most advantage of using your power whilst you're generating power. At night time, when you have no solar power or when it's raining, you really need to cut back on your power usage. You're just running fridges, maybe some lights, maybe a TV, recharging some phones. You're not running all your washing machines and every other thing that you've got, because you've got a limitation here of how much power that you can use. For all those that are looking for a system that suits their needs, I hope this video has helped you with your decision. There are a lot of options out there. If you're considering the Bluetti system, look at their sales online. I believe right now, for this period, with this video is being released, there are some sales. If you're looking at it in the future, look to the future sales where things are discounted at very reasonable prices there. So I hope you got something out of the video. I hope most of all it was informative. Like I said, this isn't for you if you can do your DIY system. This is an off-the-shelf system, and this is to help those people who need to find out information on what this system or a system can deliver. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.